The ultimate aim of the Aspire groups is to assist people in their recovery. The aim is to get them away from the trauma, the isolation, the devastation that addiction brings. And the aim is to help each other and to have fun in recovery, which is a very important aspect of aspire2be. We don't just come along and just have a meeting. We build up real friendships with each other. We build up empathy with each other's situation. We understand each other.
The purpose of the groups is to help people break free of addiction.
The purpose of the groups is to support one another, to help share our problems. It could be relationships, it could be family problems, health problems, it could be sleep, it could be anything. But it's there to support us, really. That's the main word.
What can people expect from going to an A to B group? They can expect an awful lot. They can expect the understanding of those people around them, of their situation. Most people go into recovery or coming out, or whilst they're still in addiction, feel that they're very unique in their circumstances, that particular affliction or condition, or whatever you want to call it, is unique to themselves. What you can expect from peer support groups is that you're not alone. You can experience the fact that there are so many other people in society who have the same condition as we have and are battling their own demons, but at the end of the day we're all coming together to help each other through that.
From the Aspire groups you can expect support, advice, both medical advice and emotional advice, and just lots of support and friendship.
What can I expect from Aspire groups? Friendly faces, people who understand, people who don't judge me.
People can expect from the Aspire support groups to meet people who know exactly the experience that they are going through, and they can relate and they can offer and share their own experiences.
What can they expect going to an Aspire group? I think a very friendly environment, non-judgmental, and I think that's really important because my experience of other types of groups has been that there was an expectation that you had to do certain things. And I remember when I first arrived at the group, I was completely shit scared. I was shaking. I didn't want to be there. The very thought of going to a group of addicts for help seemed almost counterintuitive. And what I found was a friendly, caring group of people who actually understood where I was and who were prepared to listen and wait for me to be in the right place to be able to do that, and probably for the first time in a very long time somewhere that I felt really safe.
The groups work in the shared responsibility and the collective responsibility of helping each other understand where we are and understand where we're going to. The groups comprise of people that are at many different stages on their recovery journey, and it's that which makes it fascinating in the meetings to see not only the differences between each other and the differences in different people's approaches to their recovery, but the similarities, and the similarities between us all is the fact that we're all in addiction. We're all addicts.
Because the people who are the co-facilitators are all ex-addicts themselves, so that they understand exactly what you're going through. Most of them with a lot of time under their belt, and they really understand and they have an empathy and can give very sound, constructive advice.
They work by meeting with people who are in the same boat as me, who are fellow addicts, who can share problems, share troubles, share emotions with one another without being judged, and
And a shared experience where people who have been in a very similar place, they all have a common goal, and similar experiences, and they can share their experience and help each other, give each other hope again.
How do I think the groups work? They work because people are able to actually share about where they are. So on a week-to-week basis, I mean, sometimes shares can be very similar, but what it's allowing people to do is to maybe to vent sometimes, to ask for help and advice. But sometimes it's just about a narrative about who they are, what they are, instead of them being defined by their addictions. They start to be defined by their recovery. And I think what the groups actually allow people to do is to be able to talk about that journey, the good and the bad, and therefore they can start to see themselves in a very different light, build confidence, be able to start having a bit of self-affirmation, because other people around the table, even if they're having a tough time, can actually say, no, I completely understand, I've been there, this is how I dealt with it. And you know, we come out of a meeting and you feel like you're actually a member of the human race again, even if you'd walked through the door feeling pretty crap. The fact that, you know, you've been able to self-affirm and actually be you for a short space of time, because sometimes we're wearing so many masks and there's so much going on out there that we pull into a very tight and very personal spot. But that hour, those 2 hours, gives you time to start actually just being you.
There's a huge mixture of people that come to groups from all walks of life. Some people may be doctors or lawyers, some people may have just come out of prison, there's some may be homeless. There is a huge mix of people, which is what makes it so unique.
People from all walks of life. It doesn't matter where they're from, what their background is. We're all addicts. We're all. It doesn't matter what background you come from to be an addict. We're all in the same boat, and we're all looking for the same thing, and that's recovery. Addiction
Is an equal opportunities employer, so it affects people from all walks of life. All, you know, there's no discrimination. Anyone can fall victim to addiction. So you can expect to meet people from all walks of life.
The types of people who come to the groups, well, you name it, all kinds of people, basically. And actually, one of the interesting things that I've noticed is I'm meeting people that I would never have met under any other circumstances. There is a whole range of people. Addiction affects every type of person, every walk of life. So it's not a self-selecting group in that respect. You know, so often I would go to a reading group or a creative writing course, and they would be all very similar types of people. That's completely different in Aspire. You walk in the door each week, there can be completely different people. But this sort of common thread that runs through each of us, which is our battle with addiction, is the thing that joins us together. And actually people who may never have met, you know, I've met people who I know under no circumstances would I have normally had any reason to start a conversation with, and yet suddenly I find I've got things in common with them, and actually I've had an opportunity to actually start to get to like them, whereas otherwise I would never have had that opportunity.
There's so many different styles and types of person that comes into the groups, which is a direct illustration of the way that addiction is non-discriminatory in the way that it affects so many different people from so many different walks of life. And that's what makes the groups fascinating, and that's what makes addiction fascinating, is that it's not pigeonholed to a certain sector of race, creed, society. It's all across the board, and so you can expect when you come to groups just to meet people from various different walks of life.
Anyone who feels they have a problem, feels they may have a drink problem, an alcohol problem, a drug problem, or who knows they've got a problem.
Anybody who's an addict should consider coming to an Aspire group. It's what saved me.
I think if you're already asking yourself the question, if you're already thinking about it, if you're already curious about what Aspire has to offer, then you should probably pop along.
The people who should consider coming to Aspire group, I think it has to be people who want to recover. I would say there's no point somebody coming along just to dot the I's, cross the T's, maybe make sure they're okay with a court case, or because they've been badgered by a family member to come along. I actually genuinely don't think you'll get anything out of it. I think the point when somebody comes to Aspire and they are actually at the point where they understand that they need to do something. Now, we all do it badly. It doesn't matter. We can have relapses over and over again. Actually, it doesn't matter about that. That sounds a bit bad, I know. But what's important is that there is that element of hope, that there is a way forward, and that actually Aspire it offers that, and it engenders that hope in people. And I think when people come along and often they come along with no hope, and that's that. So I suppose that's also saying people have lost all hope. When they come to Aspire, if they're in the right place, they get that little that flame of hope gets re-engaged, and they suddenly are able to walk out thinking, actually, yeah, other people have got it. I've actually got a chance here. And I think it's about that where a person is, and they have to be willing to be open to that. I think if they're completely closed and they're just doing it for entirely non-connected reasons, not about them getting better, but maybe they're doing it for somebody else or whatever, I think often that is doomed to failure, unfortunately.
Anyone that's serious about their recovery should come to an aspire2be group. Anyone that can put their hand on their heart and say that they've had enough of where they've been and are desperate to get forward, to go through and get away from the grips and the darkness of addiction, are welcome at aspire2be groups.